Mandy Sunner,
Yes.
welcome to the studio. Welcome to the podcast, and welcome to Liverpool, I suppose.
Yeah, thank you, Jack.
Is this your first time up here?
Actually, I was thinking about that, and I was thinking it's my third time. So I came to Liverpool, I think it was last year for the Agile UK camp.
Yeah.
Did that, and then actually before that, I took my son to Liverpool University years and years ago to see if he wanted to go there because he loves Liverpool Football Club.
Okay, yeah.
And so now, yeah.
So according to your LinkedIn, of the time that I took this, you can correct it if you want.
Mm-hmm.
So you're a passionate advocate of Agile and lean principles, helping organizations unlock their full potential with a blend of business acumen and deep IT expertise. And you're driven by human-centered design, and you have a commitment to continuous improvement.
Yeah.
That's a fair summation.
That is actually, yeah.
Oh, you wrote it, so obviously.
Yeah, that is fair. It's difficult to sometimes really know what to write on a bio when you want to sort of convey the message of what your competencies are. But yeah, I think that kind of sums me up quite nicely.
I'm sure there's more to you than that, which we'll dive into. But I like to dive into people's posts because sometimes I think there's hidden meaning behind them. So this is one. I don't think I've cut this one short. I may have cut it a bit for the context. But so I came across this. So Cardinal rules for sustainability and longevity. I absolutely love them. So surround yourself with people whose eyes light up when they see you coming. Slowly is the fastest way to get where you want to be. The top of one mountain is the bottom of the next. So keep climbing. What triggered that post?
Gosh, I'm trying to think what triggered it. I watch and read a lot of things and find my inspiration from books, people, songs, lyrics, and this was a post that I saw, and I sourced the person that said this, and then what triggered me to actually write it on LinkedIn was it just speaks volumes, because we go through our life with an imposter syndrome, and whether people admit it or not, everybody suffers with that. And I had, I think I'd completed a session with Tobias Mayer about ancestry and roots, it was called. And it was about imposter syndrome. And during that session, I mean, he just, I don't know how he does it, but he choreographs his work in such a way that it kind of touches you in a really, really deep, deep place. And I drew a picture of where I thought my roots were, and I couldn't believe what I'd produced. It was like, oh my goodness me, did I do that? And he did comment, he said, Mandy, that's really, really good, And that was it. It's like that post triggered the being slower is faster. So it came from there, really.
We're definitely going to get onto all of that deeper thinking stuff that I'll be quite open. We'll get into it. I don't know what my thoughts are, I suppose, is the interesting thought. That's one of the many reasons why I wanted you here, because you're potentially I think you've got the complete opposite outlook to life to me, in a positive way. So I'm more interested into diving into those sessions, because I've seen them online and I go, nope, absolutely not. But that's my closed-mindedness. And I go, I'm not sitting there singing Kumbaya with my shoes off, like with a load of Scrum Masters. Why do I need to know how? There's no deeper than delivery.
No.
Sub cards on the table. But I'm willing to open myself up. But before we get to all that, how did you get, not literally, but what's the short version of to the point where you're at in your life now, from a agile delivery, anything in between point of view?
Yeah, I mean, I did a computing degree back in the day, 19 96, I think it was. And I worked at British Airways for my placement, and they were going through the turmoil of, the 2K bug. And I remember being there, seeing a lot of teams work in a cross-functional way. And nobody used Agile or spoke about it then. And I just remember coming away from that thinking, oh gosh, that's so impressive. So I'd never lost that feeling of the cross-functional work. And slowly but surely, it's led me through a pathway of working in Agile, working with Agile teams. And so I'm here today because I think actually I do know about Agile. I do know about business, and I think I know a little bit about people as well. So, yeah.
Okay. What does Agile mean to you?
So if I put my glasses on, it's going to be because I need to read.
That's fine.
So again, Agile is about adaptability.
Yeah. I like that. Well, that's a clip.
Yeah. I think I think Agile is predominantly about values and behaviors, and the emphasis is on values, and there are four values, and there are 12 principles for the behaviors. Now, when I first picked up Agile, I didn't really look too much into the values and the principles, purely because it was being applied at the time. We were working in a Scrum way, and it was a discovery for me. Mm-hmm. But Agile is about adaptability. So can we adapt to get the value we need? And can we keep it customer-centric? So there's so much in Agile which speaks volumes about good health, good wealth, value, behaviours. I mean, there's one principle, and I'm going to put my glasses on.
Yeah, it's fine.
So this is the one I really, really do like, actually. It's sustainable development. It's number 8. Sponsors, developers, and users should be able to maintain a constant pace indefinitely. And that speaks volumes, because constant pace indefinitely, that's like living your life. That, to me, is about living your life, because sustainable, you can't just do marathons every single day. You have to be able to say, we're going to do a pace, we're going to adapt, but let's not forget this principle. So I do find myself looking at Agile and trying not to mention it to anyone if we're adopting it, because people seem to get the wrong impression of it, and it doesn't help when people bash it, because it is about behaviours and values. Yeah.
So how do you approach that? When you say you hate mentioning it, how do you go about talking about agility without, I can't think of a nicer phrase than turning people off it, or eye rolling, or going, here we go again.
I tend to, if I know somebody is against it, because that's the first thing, is to really, work with people, collaborate with people, and understand them. So understanding them comes from, again, coaching. If somebody's pro or against, then actually, why would you fuel the fire to make things worse? Why not ignite it to make it better? So I look at it in that way. And once I know that somebody's, vehemently against Agile, I think, well, Mandy, you don't need to mention it, because say, for example, you're religious and you have beliefs. You're not going to be telling people, oh, these are my beliefs. You're going to be living them. So if you live something, it's far better than talking about it.
Except if you're a vegan. Sorry. There's always one who brings the tone down. because they do talk about it, some of them. Sorry, back, mindful. Bring it back to the room.
I am a vegan, actually, but that's another story.
Oh, God. There we go.
That's all right.
Just offend the guest, Jack.
No.
So does that link into these very interesting cards you brought in? Because you messaged me and said, can I bring these in? And I said yes, because I don't know what you mean. So is this linking how people work? I don't want to put words into your mouth. What are these cards and how do they link into what you've just said?
Well, they link in really, really nicely from the point of view of lots of people try to find out, what kind of manager they are, what kind of developer, what kind of person. So people do a lot of these insight profiling types of...
like Myers-Briggs and stuff.
Myers-Briggs, yeah. There's so many. And I really fell for the strong suits because of the simplicity of it.
So that's what they're called, strong suits.
Yeah, strong suits. And I've invested in them. So I use the cards for coaching. I talk about them. And hopefully this year I will practice some of the training sessions and then be a fully fledged trainer. Although I am on the website, I've not run any training sessions for like bigger teams. I'd love to do that. So do you mind if I
get in touch with Mandy?
Yeah, get in touch with me. So shall I sort of pick something up? Okay, so
talk us through it.
So what's really beautiful about the cards, and I've actually given some of these away when I've done a little bit of coaching with some people.
Yeah.
I've given them away to the nice people. No, I've given them away to people who are interested and they want to use them. So they come in a really beautiful little, like a pack of cards.
Sorry. There.
Okay, so sorry. So yeah, so they come in a really small pack of cards like that. So they're beautiful. So if you are a bit of a croupier, you can, shuffle them and use them really well, and put them down there. But these are my sort of training ones. So if I were to be doing a training workshop, I'd take these along and show people the way that they're used. So there's a word in the middle. So this one is a 2 of spades and it's got ambition. So what we'd do is we'd get people to get the cards, pick the cards that resonate with them, and then talk them through, find out, why, for example, why does ambition, Jack, resonate with you? It says, I set challenging goals for myself and others. I mean, that must be true of you. You're ambitious.
Am I ambitious? I don't know. I know I generally like that. That sounds like a bit of a thirsty answer.
Okay.
I don't know.
That's all right.
Yeah.
Well, let's go with this one then. So
I would go with that.
Okay, brilliant. So you're easygoing. So I am relaxed and easy to get along with.
I don't know about that bit, but
Okay.
I would describe myself as I don't really worry about the if someone gives me bad news,
Yeah.
I will, as long as there's good intent behind it, I'm not going to fly off the handle.
Yeah.
It's I'm quite in control of that stuff.
So what I really love about what you've just said is you've already established the context of how you feel about easygoing, and you've attached it to a context, which is great. If we were to use the limitation of easygoing, then what we look at, because we always develop ourselves. Speak slowly, Mandy. We always develop ourselves when we tap into our limitations. So the limitation of easygoing is I find it hard to get into action.
Ooh. I've thought this is great. This is like a live session, isn't it? We've done this on purpose. I see it as different because I see easygoing as, I don't think I'm the type of person who would, you would dread giving me bad news. That's how I see easygoing. I don't think I find it hard to get in. I don't procrastinate that much. So it's interesting how one interprets them. So I see easygoing as relatable, approachable.
Definitely.
Can give bad news to easily, patient.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that makes sense.
That does make sense.
I don't know if I've just ripped apart your card by accident.
You haven't, no, not at all. You've established the cognitive bias that sits underneath all of our thinking. At the same time, when we use the cards and a person picks their strong hand, they themselves will be working through actually what are the strengths that they hold most closely, to their values.
Yeah.
And by virtue of doing that, what we then establish with the cards is something which is called, so this is the Insights pack. So they are divvied up in a really, really clear way. And again, I love the simplicity of it. So diamonds are standards.
Okay.
So diamonds would be for analytical people. There's a bit of diamond in me.
Yeah.
I'm a bit rough around the edges, but
your words. No one said that in the room.
So there's a diamond is about standards, reliable, objective, thorough.
Okay.
And then you've got drive, which is another suit. You're determined, driven, assertive. Then you've got passion, energetic, enthusiastic, persuasive. And then you've got another category, which is relationship, patient, agreeable, and diplomatic. And hey ho, a lot of my cards that I've chosen for myself have been relationship cards. And that gives me insight for myself, which means, okay, it's fantastic, you're relationship driven, but then what are you limiting yourself on? So it's a great way to, if teams are up for it, and I've had teams who've been, go on, Mandy.
Yeah. How many cards you allowed? Like if we're doing it 1-to-1 or 1-to-5, how does each person get a pack?
Yep.
And how many cards are they allowed to choose, or is it?
So they work in different ways. So you could have a pack, and you could basically work through a pack with a friend, and you could kind of make choices and swap. But when you do the selection of the cards, you draw down 13, and then you have 5.
Okay, so you have to refine them even further.
Yeah, so you're refining them. So it's very similar to working in like with a backlog, refining it, choosing your value. So it's
and I imagine this works for a team very well if they're just starting or not getting along. Or is that unfair to say?
No, that's not unfair at all. I mean, it's an insight for organizations to actually, organizations should be more and more data driven. So it would give an insight to executives. In that team, we've got too many people who are just blue. They just, they don't challenge themselves. They don't cross an edge. Or in that team, we've got too many, like fluffy people like Mandy, relationship. We want to add a little bit of complexity in there. So there are lots of, so what you do is you map this with coordinates, and you can see where the clusters are. Have you established an organization or a team to bring the best that they possibly can to the table? So it's great. It's a great tool.
So you obviously draw a lot of inspiration from outside of the Agile bubble. And I see you're one of the, I don't know if you organise it, these Scrum, what they call Scrum Master.
Scrum Exchange,
that's it. So I don't know if you're one of the organisers or you're very much a participant. And I'm using your words, so don't come at me in the comments. You said a fluffy person like Mandy. And again, you did say that.
I did say that.
Yeah, just for clarification, for the tape. And as a naive observer of those events, how do you balance that side of the Agile practitioner role, whether that be Scrum Master, Delivery Manager, I don't really care, how do you balance the fluffiness with the delivery? You're actually paid to get this team to get moving. What are those events, and how do they translate back into work?
Okay.
Is that
That makes a lot of sense, and it's a bit. I mean, it's different for every person has their reason, their hook. Before the pandemic, these Scrum clinics were run in London, and it's actually quite a trek for me just to go to London because I live over in Hampshire. But I went to one of these clinics, and what they do is they practice. So all you're doing at these events is you are practicing what resonates with you the most, and you're learning. So they are real learning hubs.
Yeah.
And when I went to one of these clinics, the team there, when I say team, the people there were practicing one of the tools that one of the coaches brought in, and it was from Orsk, and it was a tool called Myth Change and Third Entity.
Yeah,
and we were practicing that, and
can you just describe what Orsk is?
Yes, of course. Orsk is organizational relationship systems coaching.
Coaching, cool, thank you.
And it blew my mind. It totally blew my mind because even though I didn't know it at the time, it resonated with me. Sometimes like sometimes we do things and we say, oh, my dad does that. And you think, oh, well, my mum does it.
Hello folks, sorry to interrupt this video, but if you have got this far, it would really help if you did subscribe to the channel. Because it's face-to-face, it makes convincing people a lot easier to travel up all the way to Liverpool to record in this lovely studio. So, like I said, please subscribe and thanks for watching. As I get older, I'm going, my dad does that. That's a trait that my mum's got and now I've got.
So when we think about these things, actually, without realising it, we do bring an essence of an archetype with us. So say, for example, you've got a teacher or a lecturer or somebody who's a role model. Sometimes we bring them for that kind of positivity, that kind of almost like morale. And that persona is so influential on us. It's it's brilliant. And I saw this in action and I just couldn't believe it. And when the pandemic hit and when we were working in virtual teams, I thought to myself, I want to do something to develop my practice in a stronger way, because how am I going to be with teams if I haven't developed that side of me? So I chose Orsk because I'd actually seen it demonstrated.
Yeah.
And I think that's the power. I think when we go to any kind of event with other people, if we get the opportunity to take part, or we have an opportunity to go to an event and offer an issue that we're going through, the power of the people helps, because you can work through it and you can identify, actually, I really like that, or that I'm not going to ever do again. So you work it out in that way. So I think they're really good. Personally, I met a lot of nice people there, and I use those. I use the learning in my practice. So, if I'm in a team and I've got a very difficult person, I work with them, I use the tools, and I try my utmost to be impartial.
Yeah.
So,
I think it's a definite misstep on my part, because I've seen some of the pictures of, and again, I'm very open. It's my bias of not being open to that sort of thing, and seeing people, you describe talking about roots, and I'm like, well, how is that? What's that got to do with?
What's that got to do with anything?
But that's me. That's an issue I'm trying to be better at and not be too dismissive of that sort of thing. But now you've explained it, it makes a lot more sense.
Yeah. It's experimenting. So, say for example, you are really good at football, or you're really good at playing tennis, and you're doing your thing, and you're loving it. You're getting goals, and you're winning, you're losing sometimes. But actually, if you don't challenge yourself and go and compete with someone better than you, you're just going to stay mediocre.
Yeah.
So a lot of the things that limit us and hold us back are our fears, because we're on, we want certainty. I mean, as human beings, we want certainty. If I invest in that, am I going to get the return on that investment? We're risk averse, but we've got to remind ourselves that if we want to improve, then we do have to challenge ourselves. Yeah.
I'll take that on board. So where do organizations go wrong in regards to agility? And in your opinion, what are the reasons for that?
I think I would say if they are going wrong, so, if we look at, the ones that are going wrong or where they've gone wrong, I would say the reason they've gone wrong is because they've taken their eye off the ball. And the ball is your thing, that is your value. And when I say value, I will always believe that value is to do with your brand, it's to do with your finances, it's to do with your progression. So if they are going wrong, it's because they've taken their eye off that. Agility is about adaptability, and it's also about people being able to confidently say, I can sign that check. So that's what I think they go wrong in that way. They possibly put too much trust in people who they shouldn't put too much trust in. They should even it out. They should get data, and they should do more inspections. Yeah. I think, big organizations should do more of their Gemba walks, and CEOs, executives should not feel afraid of doing that.
What's a Gemba walk?
Okay. So a Gemba walk comes from Toyota. It's back in the day when, people were building in the factories, the CEOs, the stakeholders, the sponsors, the investors, they would go around to see the people doing the work in the factory. And going there at the cold face means, you're seeing it done. And the more people know that this is happening, it puts more of a emphasis on them knowing that they have to take the work they are doing seriously. They invest in it more because somebody else is actually interested in their work. Otherwise, they make a mockery of it. And I think on that kind of note, I think smaller businesses should always be investing in competency and capability. So real competency and capability, not just somebody's got a Scrum Master or product owner certificate after 2 days, or not if somebody's just been an Agile coach and actually not applied it and not shown the investment or the profit, or learning. So even if you failed, that's great. Show that, demonstrate that. Hey, I hold my hand up. I failed here. Or
is there a perfect path to Scrum Master and beyond?
I believe there is.
Okay.
I believe there is because I've done it myself. I came from data, so when I started my journey in business and IT, it was all about data cleaning, getting good data, data that could be used properly, and then I did business analysis, and then I really liked the Scrum Master role, even though people kept saying to me, Mandy, you'd be great as a product owner, you'd be great. But I just really liked the fact that the Scrum Master uses a lot of values to do his or her work. And then the Scrum Master is not just there. You don't just do the Scrum Master role and that's it. There's more to it. You have to ask yourself as a Scrum Master, what else? because, okay, if you are happy with the value that you've got as a Scrum Master, carry on. If you feel that you're, getting paid and that's what you want to do and you are doing a good job, value being the key, great. But if you feel, actually, I don't really think I'm getting the value that I want, because value is two-way. Can I give you an example?
Go, Fred, please do.
So I was renovating my house a while ago, and I thought, what, I plucked up the courage and I thought, I'm going to do it. I hate spending money, but I thought, I'm going to do it. So got the builders in, got some quotes in, and I said, yep, let's renovate this kitchen. And the builder said to me, day one, he said, okay, so this is what I'm going to do, Mandy. This is what we're going to do. And the goal is to give you this. So the goal was, he was going to give me one plug socket at the end of that day. And I said, well, what's the point of that? You're just, one plug socket. I didn't quite get what he meant. And he said, well, look, we are going to have to gut everything, take everything back, because we're putting in electrics, we're doing the plumbing, we're doing the floor, everything. But if we ensure that we hit the goal of one plug socket working, my boys will be able to have a cup of tea or a coffee, and you'll be able to plug your microwave in and have some dinner when you come home, and everyone's happy. So there's value there. So understanding value can be at any level, and that's really important. It's the return on your invested, hard-earned work. So yeah.
And what are the traits of a good Scrum Master and the bad Scrum Master? Two of each. Two good traits, two bad.
Well, can't we talk about product owners? No.
We can, yeah, if you want.
Anybody in a role, it doesn't matter what title you've got. If you are not listening and judging, you are failing. Listen first to understand, and then be understood. So in my eyes, that's what matters most. I also don't particularly like angry, shouty people. So when you do get angry, shouty Scrum Masters, product owners, developers, I don't particularly like that, because I think if you're doing it on a one-to-one, happy days, I can coach somebody, I can listen to them. But if you do it in a group of people, you don't know what trauma people are going through, what they have gone through. So I find that a little bit just not thought through, not clever.
Have you? I've never seen anyone shout in the work in not in the corporate world anyway. Okay.
Oh, I've had some of that shoutiness. I mean, yeah. I've been around longer than you, and I've worked for many, many years.
Don't get me wrong, I've seen some right. I can't think of a word without swearing.
Knobheads.
Nasty people. But I've never seen someone be really loud and shouty in the workplace. Yeah. So.
No, I have. I mean, I've seen it. I've witnessed it as when I was going through my career, developing, progressing, and I didn't particularly think that was clever. And I've had it dished to me as well, which I didn't particularly like, but I handled it. And the way I would handle it is I will not retaliate. I'll quietly go away, think about it. I may lean on some of my colleagues who are very established and talk through it and find out what they think. And then if the opportunity arose, I would then speak to the person, which I have done. And I've straight away said, you must be going through a really difficult time.
I bet that shocked them. Coming at it from that angle.
Yeah. Because often that's what happens. People get to rage and anger because they are really struggling. They're really, really struggling. So actually, if people do that, it's not great. But if you've got a coach, or if you've got somebody who's mature, mentors, if you've got somebody there in a situation who can, help, then again, that's another good thing to have.
What was that person's reaction when you said that? I imagine they fell. I'm assuming it's a he, to be honest.
Yeah.
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 Don't think it was a massive leap to think that. Yeah, what was his reaction?
His reaction, do you know, this was his reaction genuine. He went, "Oh, yeah, I am, Mandy. I'm going through a really difficult time." So a real deep sigh, and and I think, and that's another reason what draws me more and more to coaching, more and more to, doing a better job as an Agile coach. If somebody wants me as an Agile coach, as a mentor, as a manager, that's the sort of thing I think matters mostly.
Yeah.
Nobody remembers anything about work or anything when they leave a company, but they remember how people made them feel, whether somebody gave you space. I met this manager once, no word of a lie. And if she ever watches this, she might remember this, or hopefully she forgot. But I remember I was going through a really difficult time. My kids, I've got children, and they were struggling and they needed help, and I was trying to make sure that I was paying my bills and going through a really difficult time. And at work, I met a team, and I was going through a very difficult time with them. And I just thought, oh my goodness me, it's like just it's too much. It's too much for me. And I held it all in. I just suppressed it. I just, go home and just, come on, Mandy, just go on a 3-mile run and just battle through it. So, battling through, yeah, absolutely, you do that. But you end up with quite a lot of suppressed feelings, and that's not good. Anyway, I met this lady in the canteen, and she's like so nice to me. She's like, "Hi, Mandy," and everybody really loved this woman. I said, "Hi," and I just burst into tears. And she said, "What's the matter?" And I said, No, everything's all right. And I was like, well, actually, it's really quite difficult. So I think I respect organisations and teams and any kind of setup where they've got people who know how to handle difficulties and, take wellness seriously.
And what does that look like? So, organisation, coaster. That's they make coasters. Mm-hmm. What does taking wellness seriously look like to you in an organisation? For anyone who's looking to, increase their organisation in that sense, or to improve their organisation in that sense.
I think having people, if they really want to take it seriously, I think it's about people being able to lean on something they have studied, they have understood, so some form of qualification, some sort of learning, because I think learning is the key thing. And if organisations were also more into learning organisations, they would create humility. Humility would engender people wanting to do well. But I definitely think training, getting people to levels where, they are happy with, that would help a lot, because people would recognise actually, that person's not happy, and we're going to lose this person. This person is so good in this, but because they're not happy and they're not opening up, they're going to go.
Yeah. To get to prevention instead of cure.
Yeah, definitely.
If you were in the Agile kitchen, I think you may have answered some of these already, but what 3 ingredients do organisations or teams need to benefit from Agile?
I think one of the key things is to really learn and understand about waste.
What does that mean?
I mean, it's everything and anything that is not going to add value.
Yeah.
So from your person who talks too much, from your, person who creates lots and lots and reams of documentation, which is meaningless, it's adding no value, from your anything that does not create value. And value is what really gives you the notion of, is this waste or is this the opposite? So I think that's really key.
So how do you go about, from a coaching point of view, maybe not telling, but helping someone understand that what they're doing is part of that waste? So I'm not, who really loves documentation. I think it's providing loads of value. I'm very analytical. I think it's important.
Mm-hmm.
How would you go about telling me that it might be part of, it might not be adding as much value as I think? So I imagine, and the reason I ask that is because people go in, well, how do we do that? Waste is a term that a lot of Agile practitioners throw out there. But how would you go about that?
Yeah. I certainly wouldn't just tell somebody. I would I would open a conversation. I would welcome people in to talk about value, and if people are interested, then have that dialogue, and really try to understand from their point of view why and how they think it's adding value. Because it's all very well me saying that's a waste, but actually what I consider a waste may not well be. You may be creating your documentation, your metrics, your data, and it may well be helping another team, another department. So I think that's the key thing. The key is, if somebody just says waste, it is waste. Oh, all that document. Well, actually, have a dialogue. Is it really waste? And if something is waste, then try to understand, well, how can we make it not so wasteful? So yeah.
Cool. What else is on your mind, Mandy? What else would you like to dive? Is there a question that I haven't asked that you think I should have?
Oh, you've asked me loads of questions. The funniest thing is you've totally gone off script. So in the sense of, like I had these, because I'm quite a structured, analytical person.
Yeah.
So in my mind, I had these questions set up.
I mean, we've covered them all.
We've covered them. And that's the beauty of, but that's the beauty of doing what we do. So we both do Agile and we've gone off script, but actually that's the beauty. And if we could actually tap into that more, we'd have much, much better organizations, much better teams, much better places, because what we would be doing is we would be saying, throw away that, and we're applying it. We're putting it into practice.
And do you find, again, this is off script, but it's relevant to what you've just said. How do you feel about like the debates on LinkedIn and the community in general, sort of? Yeah.
I mean, I think credit to those people who do it. They feel that they want to call it out, and in fact, if you're in doubt, you're going to shout. And some of these people are shouting, and that's if it works for them, go for it. I mean, there are so many tools and technologies out there now that you can use, where you can just record your, put all your content together, and then, just get your daughter or your son, to say, look, or you can just get a scheduler to schedule it. You could do so many different things in terms of putting your content out there. If it helps somebody, great. If it's shouty or if it's too much for my brain, I'll just scroll past it.
Yours always seems to be always positive. Is that intentional? Because you want to be a different sort of voice? Because it just always seems very uplifting and nice and coming from a pragmatic point of view. Is that?
It is. I try to come from a pragmatic point of view. I'll tell you a story. It's going to be quick.
It's all right. I've got plenty of time.
I was going for this interview years ago for a very big container shipping company. I won't name you, but you know who you are.
To begin with them.
Yeah, it does. And at the time, I just remember thinking, my heart was beating. I kept going to the toilet. I was so nervous. And my son was going through his studies, and he'd got offered a place at Oxford to do his master's in law. And anyway, I'd filled out my application, and then I knocked on his door one day, and I said, I don't think I can do it, son. I really don't think I can do this. And he looked at me and he went, I don't think I can go to Oxford, Mum. And that was it, really. I just thought to myself,
how powerful
that was so powerful.
Unless he meant it.
I don't know. I don't know if he, but it was so incredibly powerful and meaningful. I've lost the gist of what the question was.
No, it was just around. You come from a pragmatic, positive approach. Is that intentional?
It is intentional. It's totally intentional. I mean, I've done so much research. I have done so much research. I have got reams and reams of documents and files and folders about how we are born with this mindset with this spirit of survival. And fear, and the world around us is set up in that way. Marketing, media, I mean, even these people who on LinkedIn want to kill Agile, want to kill this and want to kill that. It's the fear. They come at it from fear, or some of them are joking now, and jovial about it, and that's great. But actually the fear aspect is where they really try to get that virus into your head. So if you try to understand that better and think, actually, okay, so, it's raining outside. It's really cold outside. I'm going to do this to adapt, to protect myself. And I just think you have that kind of a mindset of doing something. You're not going to fall into that trap of just feeling condemned and feeling that you're, on this slippery slope. So you yourself, I'll go back to Agile, because Agile is why we're here. Yeah. Agile rocks. The thing about Agile and the manifesto is the manifesto speaks to people. And it's got principles, and it is set in the public forum. It's not a charter, it is a manifesto. And I love the fact that you can tap into something like that, read all the principles, work it out. The 4 values are great because they underpin the principles, but really work it out. What does this mean to me? And I think that's the thing that makes me think positively, because you don't have to memorize the principles, not at all. But it's in your mind, you're thinking, is this wasteful? Is this valuable? Am I talking too much? You think differently. And I think if you really do want to change anything in your life and other people's lives, approach it in a positive way. Negativity is just not necessary. And we can go deep and deep into philosophy and see what negativity does. It just makes people feel more oppressed. It brings out dictators. It's not a good style. And I don't like it.
Yeah. And polarization, I think, does come from fear, doesn't it?
And
that goes... It's not for this podcast, but it goes beyond.
Beyond,
so many things, or into so many things.
Yeah.
You up for some quick fire this or that questions?
Yeah, go for
Sure.
it. Yeah.
All right. Scrum or Kanban?
Scrum.
Story points or flow metrics?
Story points.
Less or safe?
Am I allowed to pass?
No.
Okay. Less or safe? I'm going to go with safe.
Fine.
I'm going to go safe.
Okay. That's all I had. 4 quickfire questions.
Yeah.
The hesitation.
Why the hesitation?
Yeah.
Truthfully, I've not really done that much work on, using less.
Yeah. Large scale Scrum. Sorry, I should have made that clearer.
So, I mean, okay, in that case, I have done it, but I've not really associated it with less. And that's the thing. I think people do a lot of things, enterprise, I mean, and they don't realise that is part of less.
Yeah.
And I said safe because I think safe is participatory. Safe is about money. You're trying to invest. You're trying to accrue. It's financial.
Yeah. It's just a bit of fun.
That's all right.
Yeah.
You can have your fun. I like fun. I like joy.
What's next? Where can people reach out if you are open to them doing so?
Oh, totally open. Get me on LinkedIn because that's my platform. And if there is anything, that somebody wants to know, understand, or get some free coaching, mentoring, pro bono, please just get in touch with me. Yeah.
Your LinkedIn will be in the show description. That card stuff. Mm-hmm. Is there a website for that you're on, or how do people inquire about this?
Yeah, if you go to strongsuits.com, Google it, I'm sure it will come up, or you can ask me. It'll be there. I think I'm definitely on there as well, on the bio.
Perfect. Anything else on your mind?
No, I think it's been great. Actually, there is something on my mind. And,
go on.
I was asked to go. So I don't know if you know Nisha Joshi, and Sharon.
The delivery space.
The delivery space. She asked me to go on her podcast ages ago, and so I'm just kind of being vulnerable and just sort of saying I wasn't ready to do a podcast on my own. I just didn't have the courage. And so just in case Nisha watches this, or Sharon, they watch it, I'm ready now, girls. So if you want me on your podcast, just call me. But that was it, really. Yeah.
I'm glad to be the stepping stone to
theirs.
Theirs.
Been brilliant.
Theirs is great. I've been on theirs. It's a great set. Obviously up to some great stuff. I hope to see you on that one as well.
Yeah. Let's see what happens. See if I'm intelligent enough.
Don't be silly. I could listen to you all day.
But
unfortunately,
bless you, Jack. Thank you.
We are limited by time. But thank you very much for coming on. I'm sure I know people will have got a lot from that. It's given me something to think about in terms of my own limitations and the way I think about things. And if you like this chat, there will be a video around there or there, wherever we do it, that you'd probably be interested in if you enjoyed this one. So yeah. Thank you, Mandy.
Thank you, Jack. Thank you very much.